The restaurant goes to Marco. My father's words hung in the air like stale smoke, suffocating and bitter. I sat across from him in the office of Romano's, the family restaurant I'd practically grown up in, trying to process what he just said. Dad, I've been running this place for 15 years, I said, fighting to keep my voice steady. Marco hasn't even worked here since college. My name is Isabella Romano, and at 35, I was watching my father hand over my life's work to my younger brother simply because he was born male. Dad leaned back in his chair, my chair, really, since I was the one who sat in it every day managing the books, handling suppliers, and keeping Romano's the best Italian restaurant in Boston. Bella, you're an excellent chef, he said in that patronizing tone I'd grown to hate. But running a business, that's not for women. You belong in the kitchen, doing what you do best. I felt my hands clench under the desk. What I do best is everything. I revamped the menu, modernized our systems, built our wine program from scratch. Our revenue has tripled since I took over operations. And that's wonderful, he replied, waving his hand dismissively. You can keep cooking, but Marco has an MBA. He understands business. I almost laughed. Marco's MBA hadn't stopped him from failing at 3 different startups. He hadn't set foot in Romano's for more than a family dinner in years, but suddenly he was qualified to run it. His MBA didn't help when he lost investors' money on that tech venture, I reminded Dad. Or when his cryptocurrency thing collapsed. Dad's face hardened. That's different. This is a real business, a family business. Marco needs this, Isabella. He needs to prove himself. And there it was, the truth behind it all. Marco, the golden boy who couldn't succeed on his own, needed our family restaurant as a safety net. Never mind that I'd poured my heart and soul into this place since I was 20. What about what I need? I asked quietly. What about everything I've built here? You're being dramatic, Dad said. Nothing's really changing. You'll still be head chef, still be in charge of the kitchen. That's always been your place. My place. Like I was a piece of furniture that belonged in a certain corner. I stood up slowly, smoothing my chef's coat. When does this transition happen? Marco starts next week. He has some ideas for modernizing things, making the place more current. More current. I just finished overseeing a complete renovation of our dining room, updated our ordering system, and launched a successful catering division. But apparently, that wasn't current enough. I see. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my keys. To the restaurant, to the wine cellar, to the office I occupied for over a decade. Then I guess you'll need these. Dad blinked, surprise finally cracking his certainty. What are you talking about? I quit. Don't be ridiculous, he scoffed. You can't quit. Your family. Watch me. I placed the keys on his desk with a quiet click. Good luck explaining to our regulars why their favorite dishes suddenly taste different. And you might want to warn Marco that our seafood supplier only takes orders on Thursdays. Our produce guy needs to be paid in cash. And our best wines are stored at a very specific temperature that the system monitors hourly. I turned to leave, but Dad's voice stopped me. Isabella, you're being foolish. Where will you go? What will you do? I looked back at him, at the man who taught me to cook, but never believed I could do more. I'm going to prove you wrong. That night, I sat in my apartment with a glass of wine and my old recipe journal, the one where I'd been collecting ideas and innovations for years. Ideas that Dad had always dismissed as too modern, too different from traditional Italian cuisine. My phone buzzed with texts from Marco. Hey sis, heard the news. Don't worry, I'll take good care of the place. Maybe we can modernize that old school menu of yours. I blocked his number. Another buzz, this time from Sofia Martinez, my sous chef for the past 5 years. Just heard. I quit too. Those idiots won't last a week without us. I smiled and called her back. Want to help me start something new? I thought you'd never ask, she replied. I know a realtor who's got a perfect space available. Previous restaurant went under, but the kitchen's fully equipped. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. I took out a loan against my condo, called in favors from industry friends, and started building something of my own. The space Sofia found was in an up-and-coming neighborhood, just far enough from Romano's to avoid direct competition, but close enough to be convenient for our loyal customers. Once they found out where we'd gone, I named it Radis, root in Italian, because while Romano's might have been my family's restaurant, my roots in cooking went deeper than any name. My team came together quickly. Sophia brought most of our old kitchen staff. Our longtime sommelier, disgusted by Marco's plan to streamline the wine list, joined us too. Even our produce supplier, who'd worked with me for years, agreed to add us to his Thursday rounds. The menu I designed was everything I'd wanted to do at Romano's but couldn't. Traditional Italian dishes reimagined with modern techniques and local ingredients. No more being constrained by Dad's insistence on the way we've always done things. Opening night was a month away when I got the first panicked call from Romano's. It was Linda, one of the servers who'd stayed behind. "The new menu is a disaster," she whispered. Marco replaced half the dishes with frozen pasta and pre-made sauces to cut costs. 3 tables walked out last night. I thanked her for the information but didn't engage further. Romano's wasn't my problem anymore. A week later, a local food blogger posted a scathing review of Romano's, commenting on the dramatic drop in quality and the disappearance of their signature dishes. The same day, she posted a tantalizing preview of Radis's upcoming opening, featuring photos of our test dishes and hints about the exciting new direction in Italian cuisine. The night before our opening, I stood in Radis's kitchen, running final checks on everything. The space hummed with possibility. Shiny copper pots hanging from the ceiling, herbs growing in the window boxes, the wood-fired oven warming up for tomorrow's service. My phone buzzed with a text from Dad. "This is childish, Isabella. Come back where you belong." I deleted it without responding and turned to my team, ready to show them what we can do. Sophia grinned, tying on her apron. "Let's make some history." The first review came 3 weeks after our opening. I was in the kitchen, plating a new dish I'd been perfecting, when Sophia burst through the door waving her phone. "Boston Globe," she shouted. "They're calling us revolutionary." I grabbed the phone, my hands trembling slightly. The headline read, "Radis redefines Italian cuisine. A star is born in Boston's restaurant scene. Chef Isabella Romano has done the impossible," the review gushed. "She's taken traditional Italian cuisine and elevated it to an art form. Each dish tells a story of heritage and innovation. The handmade squid ink pasta with locally sourced seafood alone is worth the visit." The review went on, praising everything from our wine pairings to our service. But it was the last paragraph that made my heart stop. Meanwhile, the historic Romano's, now under new management, seems to have lost its way. Recent visits show a marked decline in quality, with many signature dishes notably absent from the menu. One wonders if the Romano family realizes what they lost when they let their talented chef depart. I handed the phone back to Sophia, already focusing on the next dish. "We're not celebrating yet. This is just the beginning." And it was. The Globe review opened the floodgates. Food bloggers, local celebrities, and curious diners filled our reservation books. We started maintaining a waiting list that stretched months ahead. Then came the call that changed everything. "Ms. Romano." The voice was crisp, professional. "This is James Martin from the Michelin Guide. We'd like to schedule a formal review of Radis." I nearly dropped the phone. Michelin didn't just randomly review new restaurants. Someone had noticed us. Someone important. The next 2 months were intense. We refined every dish, perfected every service detail. I practically lived in the kitchen, testing and retesting recipes until each one was flawless. Meanwhile, the news from Romano's got worse. Marco's modernization had driven away their regular customers. His attempt to court a younger crowd with fusion dishes and Instagram-worthy presentations had fallen flat. Dad had to start dipping into his retirement savings to keep the place afloat. Linda, still our inside source, kept us updated. "They tried copying your squid ink pasta recipe," she reported one day. "It was a disaster. 3 people got food poisoning." I wish I could say I didn't care, but each update felt like a knife twisting in my gut. That restaurant had been my life for 15 years. Watching Marco destroy it was like watching someone vandalize a masterpiece. The Michelin review came on a quiet Tuesday evening. We didn't know which table was the reviewer. We treated every guest like it could be. But 2 weeks later, when the call came, I knew our attention to detail had paid off. "Congratulations," James Martin said warmly. "Radis has been awarded 1 Michelin star." The kitchen erupted in cheers when I announced the news. Sophia popped champagne, and for once I let myself celebrate too. We'd done it. We'd proven that innovation and tradition could coexist, that being just a chef wasn't a limitation but a foundation for something greater. The next morning, the local news ran two stories side by side. Radis earns prestigious Michelin star, and historic Romanos files for bankruptcy. Dad showed up at Radis that afternoon, looking older than I remembered. He stood awkwardly in the reception area, watching our staff prepare for service. "The place looks nice," he said finally. I continued reviewing the night's reservations. "We're fully booked. If you'd like to dine here, I can put you on the waiting list." "Isabella." He sighed heavily. "I was wrong. About everything. Marco, he didn't understand. The restaurant, it wasn't just about cooking or business. It was about heart. About passion. You had that. You always did." I finally looked up at him. "And now?" "Now he's run it into the ground. We're selling if we can find a buyer." "The bank?" He trailed off, looking embarrassed. "What do you want, Dad?" "A second chance. Maybe you could buy Romanos. Restore it. Make it part of your success." I thought about it for about 2 seconds. "No." He blinked, surprised. "But it's your heritage, your family's legacy." "My legacy is here." I gestured around at Radis. "I built this from nothing with people who believe in me. I don't need Romanos anymore." "Then what am I supposed to do?" "Learn from it," I said simply. "Learn that sometimes the best person for the job isn't the one who looks the part or has the right degree. Sometimes it's the one who's been doing it all along, whether you noticed or not." After he left, Sophia found me in the kitchen, testing a new recipe. "You okay?" she asked softly. I looked around at my kitchen, not the one I'd inherited, but the one I built. At my team, chosen for their talent and passion, not their gender or connections. At the line of tickets already printing for tonight's service. "I'm perfect," I replied, tying on my apron. "Let's make dinner." 6 months later, Radis opened its second location. A year after that, we got our second Michelin star. The old Romano's building was eventually sold to a young female chef with big dreams and modern ideas. I heard her food was excellent. Sometimes when I'm working late in the kitchen, developing new recipes or training staff, I think about Dad's words, "Women belong in the kitchen." He was right, in a way. Some of us do belong in the kitchen. Running it, revolutionizing it, proving that the heart of any great restaurant isn't about gender or tradition or MBAs. It's about passion, innovation, and the courage to believe in yourself even when nobody else does. Even now, with all our success, Dad still doesn't quite get it. But that's okay. I didn't do this for him. I did it for every person who's ever been told to stay in their place, to stick to what they know, to think smaller. Sometimes the best revenge isn't proving others wrong. It's proving yourself right.